You know it's gonna be a good day when you have an Inspire 3, an electric surfboard, and a Chris. That's Chris right there. Look at him. Crazy. He took a break from his Hollywood films to come help me film my videos.
Honestly, a lot more fun.
It's pretty fun. All right. This is the new DJI Inspire 3, the biggest drone I've ever flown, and it might be the greatest drone ever made for high-end filmmaking productions. It shoots full-frame 8K up to 75 frames per second in ProRes RAW, 120 frames per second in 4K, super high dynamic range, 14 stops or more, dual native ISO, and so much more to talk about with this thing. First time flying. How was that, man?
No, it's actually pretty good. I have to remind myself I'm not flying like a tiny little drone because it feels honestly the same. So the controller fits in there too.
Everything. It's pretty well done, eh?
It's very well done. That's like carry-on size, almost.
This is a big carry-on. I don't think that's gonna fit into the little checker.
First class Emirates, they'll let you have this.
Yeah. There she is. This is a whole nother class of drones here. Are you good with this?
I'm good with it.
Okay, I'm gonna show you how to put this thing together. Now, you guys seeing this for the first time are probably having the same reaction as me that just my dad's striking something. This thing looks absolutely nuts when you first open this. You're like, what is all this stuff? But honestly, it's not that bad. I'll show you. DJI did this really well, and even for an idiot like me, I had no problem setting this up and flying it for the first time. Have you flown these before?
Not this big, little guys.
All right, so hopefully we don't crash this because it is worth like $20,000 for this set. So, so this is the actual drone part. This is kind of like your base here, and we gotta build this out. So, first thing we need is some batteries. We got a whole bunch of batteries here because the drone chews through them. 2 of these I think last something like 25 minutes or something like that. So you need some batteries. I've never flown any of the Inspires before this, so this is all new to me, but I assume that the Inspire 2 wasn't quite this well put together because this is like they've thought of everything. Over here we have our memory card slot. So this is just like an SSD. Plug this straight into your computer. Don't even need memory card readers or anything. I love that. And then we're gonna turn this sucker on. The usual press and hold. Now, interestingly, we have an FPV camera here. So this camera is like no latency, no lag, and so you know exactly where you are, which is very, very, very nice when you're flying something this big and this expensive. It's nice to know where you are in the space and that you don't have to just rely on a camera that's lagging.
Huge.
Yeah, it's big. But it also has cameras on each leg for obstacle avoidance. So yeah, they really made it easy for us. But we don't have...
What are those?
These are sensors also. There's sensors on the bottom too, more cameras on the bottom. Sensors and cameras everywhere, so Chris here doesn't crash it right away.
So it's like your Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a Tesla, except it flies. So where are we actually getting the real high quality video? Well, we gotta put that on here. Watch this. Tap it 5 times. She comes alive. Now we can bust out the Zenmuse X9 8K Air. That's right, 8K. Ta-da! This is the gimbal. Chris is used to working with gimbals. Usually his gimbals are a little smaller than this guy. This one's a pretty big boy.
It's pretty beefy. I don't
This
know.
is
Can you handle it?
this is heavy.
I don't even want to pick that up.
And then all we gotta do, there we go, easy as that. And then the gimbal's gonna calibrate here. We got an 18mm lens on here, which I just realized this cap isn't on properly. There we go. Then we're pretty much ready to go. Now, the only big difference here is, you know, the controllers are used to. Now you move on to the big boy controllers. This thing is massive. And it's not just one. We get two. One for me, one for Chris here. Chris is used to this kind of stuff more.
Is there like a support rig for it?
Fold these out.
Oh, they're actually.
Then you can put on your suspenders here.
Chris, you were joking, but
A lot of everything.
For real.
Just for like all day filming.
Chris is ready. Pull those antennas up.
Check Instagram.
Like all this little stuff is just really smart. One of my favorite things, before I forget to mention, you can hot swap these batteries. So, you know, choose through batteries pretty fast. And you don't want to power this thing off and then have to do all that stuff up again. You can just pull one of these batteries out at a time and the drone's still on. You can't fly it like this, but drone's still on, so you can swap it out, change it, and then you can keep flying. And same with the controllers. They have internal battery, but then you can also add a battery, so you can hot swap those. Very smart. You don't have to turn off anything. You just keep it going. Not that I would know anything about this, because I don't do this for a living. I just pretend like I do.
so I got this job.
And then in here we got some more lenses here. We got a 24mm, a 50mm, and a 35mm, which is very interesting. I've never really flown a drone with anything other than like wide angle. Then we gotta put on the propellers. They're a little bit bigger than we're used to, but same easy system. They're all like marked, so you know which one to put where. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're ready to fly.
Oh, we're linked. We're like an avatar.
We're filming this. This is like a dream come true. I flew in Chris all the way from LA.
That's right.
Come on.
For a little pan tilt action.
I feel like such a fraud right now. This is amazing. We're gonna fly. You open the door. So I labeled these because I have the flight controller here, and Chris has the gimbal controller. So
There's no way you could see that. It's black writing on black gaff tape. Like,
There.
just trust me.
So I'm gonna be doing the flying, and so I actually get, you're probably not gonna really see very well, but I get, this is the actual like camera, what we're recording, and then right here is the FPV drone. So this is like what I can use to know exactly where we are in our flight. And then Chris here is gonna be operating the gimbal and getting the shot, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Chris, you've done this before, right? So you...
On a student film once.
Chris has worked on like a lot of like actual like big budget feature films and TV shows and stuff that like I just haven't been a part of at all. And this is like, so you're operating, right?
Yeah. So traditional camera operator, panning, tilting, invoicing. That's what they call it. That's what they say. Pan, tilt, invoice. A lot of gimbal operating, Ronin operating. I've done a little bit of aerial operating.
You're like on the wheels and stuff, right?
Wheels, joysticks, Russian arms, handheld, gimbals.
So hopefully you'll do a good job with this.
I think we'll manage.
We're gonna hit the flag and immediately just... This is the real set life right here.
Gotta, you know, make sure the talent and the crew are happy here. Oh,
Whoa, he did it with one hand.
Chris, is
But
this
guess
normal?
what? He didn't even have to do it with one hand because it's strapped to his body.
Chris, is this the normal for you?
There'd be more like vegan options.
Yeah, Tyler, what are you doing?
We just had bacon.
Bacon burgers. Tyler.
We're ready to fly. Getting a 50mm on a drone was so fun with 2 operators. And that's one of the things I've always wanted to do, was this 2-person control of a drone and the camera. It's so nice to be able to just focus on flying and trying to get into interesting places while the other person is focused on lining up the shot and following the subject, making sure we got what we need. It's just so much faster to get incredible shots, but it's also the ability to actually get drone shots that look super high end and are impossible on the smaller drones that we're used to. The sheer speed of this thing is absolutely wild. There's no speed ramp here. This is how fast it can fly, 94 kilometers per hour. I'm a professional drone pilot.
He's getting it for the gram.
I never thought I'd have Chris over here flying an Inspire 3 at the cottage, you know, just hanging out.
Just hanging out. Never thought I'd go to Canada.
with our silly little things that just work. DJI, man, even for a pilot like me, this feels very comfortable. Are you having fun?
I'm having a ton of fun.
This is really fun, actually. Good job, Isaac. I know it's hard out there, but you're doing a great job. So it's really cool. This is how you take off, but then once you take off, I press the button and it does this for you by itself also. Now the propellers go up and now we have full 360. Now we can move around the gimbal 360 any direction you want. You have all this like unobstructed view. You can actually even tilt pretty high up. So you can get these like up shots, really cool. Nice thing about this is if I lose control of the drone for some reason, let's say I lose connection, Chris can actually take over and start flying it also, even though he's gimbal op right now.
Whoa.
But that's interesting because you could go in different places,
Right.
and like if you left to fly around like a rock wall or something like that, you could go in different spots where like you're playing it safe,
Right.
you
And
know?
hopefully the gimbal guy also knows how to fly a drone.
Yeah. Well, that's how I would do it at least. It's crazy how well this thing flies that it just feels like you're flying like any other Mavic. Like you just have more power, more speed,
Way
but
more
it doesn't
speed.
feel like sketchy or hard. There's no like, oh, this is like, I gotta get...
No.
It's just like more tools, more power, more at your disposal.
Yeah, and I wasn't even in sport mode. And I was already like, we were going like, I don't know how fast we're going, but
pretty fast, yeah.
it's scary, yeah.
It's so fun. All right, Chris, you gotta try this out now.
All right, this is where I get hurt.
How does it feel?
I'm more nervous riding this than I was flying the Inspire.
Okay.
Literally,
Good luck out there. Have fun. Yeah, Chris! Look at this guy. First try, he's up and riding. Heck yeah. Woo! I also like the fact that you can still fly this by yourself. It gives you so much more flexibility when you don't need to have a second operator, but you can also do it that way. I didn't get the chance to test the 8K 75 frames per second yet, but the 4K 120 frames per second looks amazing. And the image coming from this camera in general is actually crazy. It's really, really nice. Probably nicer than most of the cameras that I've owned. I'm gonna preface this with Chris is not a drone op or drone anything really. That's not your profession.
I do like drones, but yeah, usually just kind of traditional, like gimbal operating, camera operating, but it's all the same principles, you know, panning, tilting, coordinating, communicating. So, you know, kind of bleeds over.
It feels like we've done this for a while already. I mean, it's like right away, you like hop into like, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Look, communication. Usually Chris is on like big movies and shows. Like
sometimes you just fall off the jet ski.
Tyler, you okay? Man down! Were you trying to be sneaky and quiet, or what happened?
I turned the wrong way, and then Isaac was just telling me to cut it, so I cut it. And then I was like, oh no, I'm screwed.
Back to the video. Before Tyler rudely cut you off, what kind of projects have you been on?
Man, a whole bunch.
Obi-Wan? Straight Outta Compton?
Compton, that was one of my first movies. Star is Born, that's kind of a big one.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That was cool.
Okay, so you come from the pro world. You're in it. Like, that's your bread and butter.
Definitely in it.
What do you think of the Inspire 3 so far?
Oh, it's amazing. Like 10 years ago, what it would have taken to get the shots that we got with two like kind of okay guys would have been like crews of people locking down streets because you have this like 100-pound thing flying around with $100,000 camera, and this is like too easy.
And you get 8K in
8K,
this ProRes raw, like
fast, nimble. It's faster than the other drones too. This is by far like the fastest.
It's so fast.
Cinema drone I think I've seen.
And still flies so well. That's like it's hard to just like wrap your head around how big and fast things are going, but then also how like kind of easy it is to fly.
Yeah.
Like DJI just has this habit of taking very technical, very tricky, very hard things and just making it kind of easy.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I like
literally
that.
the same interface as like my Mavic Pro. So
Yeah.
I was picking this thing up, I was like, I knew where everything was.
Yeah. I've never flown an Inspire before and had no problems following Chris around on the surfboard or Isaac on the jet ski. And we got that one shot. I'm like,
Yeah.
it felt like we were like
Took a couple
legit.
takes, but once we like synced up with each other,
Yeah.
yeah, that was cool.
We probably still could have done it better, but that was like two, 3 takes,
Mm-hmm.
and with the jet ski coordination, I think that was pretty good. I think we're cut out for this drone world, maybe, or maybe not. I'll just go back to YouTube, and Chris, you can go back to your
Hollywood.
Yeah, your
Back to where you came from.
this is a funny collab because I watched Chris when early days he was doing vlogs before. I don't even think I did vlogs or YouTube or anything back then. You were like
2017.
early. Yeah, I started
Even
2017 early.
2016.
Yeah, I think 2016 you were doing it. So he's like OG vlogger. You guys should go check out his vlogs on the BTS of what it's like being. What were you back then? Or were you opping or you were?
I was like a Ronin, or we didn't have Ronins then. It was a Movi, tech, Movi op. Yeah, we were in Europe shooting like a action movie kind of James Bond
half the
style
people
thing.
listening are like, "What's a movie?"
I know. It's come a long ways. Let's just say it's come a long ways.
Thanks, man, for helping me fly this thing. It made me feel better having like an actual professional, so I didn't just feel like an idiot, you know?
You know.
I mean, this isn't your area of expertise either, but we did it.
We fooled him again.
Yeah, we got something. There's so much more to this drone that I didn't even get to. For example, this thing, the RTK system, which basically means that you can set up like flight paths that are super precise. So you can fly this thing inside or map out a pathway and then just repeat that same pathway. So like you could, do like some sort of action sequence. And then instead of having to try to fly it perfectly every time, all you gotta do is just move the stick forwards and back, and you just choose how fast to do the movement. This whole thing it's incredible, and it's like very simple to use, even though there's so much complexity here that I'm very, very impressed. I know a lot of us probably aren't gonna be using the Inspire 3s, but this is what's coming in the pipeline, even for the smaller drones. It's absolutely wild. Oh, and I did almost dip the gimbal in the water on the very last shot of the night. Whoops. All right, get back to making films because there's no excuses nowadays. Bye. Oh, and thanks, Chris, for coming to help out. Really appreciate it. Go and follow him. Okay, bye.